a business without necessarily having to go to Harvard, to MIT, or all these other institutions where they will get an MBA or something of the sort. So financial literacy is very important. One them to understand how to market their businesses, to get that MBA without also having to go to an MBA school, and how to run a business. Then third, we have to give them a platform to capture their records because record keeping is very important. If you don't have visibility of your business and also you don't understand how to separate yourself from the business, then you do not understand the health or the lack thereof of the business. So we have a platform with Kanakata where they do their record keeping and a very simplified accounting tool, which is free of charge, not charge, as well as a financial literacy training, which again is very simplified for them, for anyone to grasp, including the mama blogger in the market or just a painter, just think of that kind of category of person. Then after a period of time, we're able to bring to closer to giving you working capital because we've been monitoring you, we've been educating you for a period of time, and we don't prolong it for too long. So it's a bare minimum of 21 days. So when we think about it, even in less than a month, we're able to not get to working capital. And for us, we differentiate it by saying, we're not giving you a personal loan where you can go and buy clothes or take your child back to school. There's nothing wrong with taking your child back to school, by the way. However, we're teaching you to fish. We want you to put that money back to the business and separate that money from yourself so that it can have that ripple effect. So that's what sustainability is all about, and that's how we've been doing it. And this has been very important for the creatives, and we've come to appreciate it.
Thank you. So perhaps maybe I'll add on that. I do think we have certain biases against the creatives. We think that they are not MIT graduates. I beg to differ on that front. I mean, to be a creative person, you need to be quite smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
and I agree with that.
Yeah.
Just to chime in, I agree with that. It's just that we're talking about the vast majority in our locality.
yeah, you'll be surprised, Mula. So I want to move on to Miriam. Actually, to you're creating a platform that is not only collaborative but brings together a collective of fashion designers. Could you speak to us a little bit more about that and to maybe the fashion designers in the room who perhaps don't know exactly what shops into that? You probably think it's just an e-commerce site, but it's really many layers to it.
Yeah, true. So Shopzetu is an e-commerce fashion platform, which is the first of its kind in East Africa. And we not only serve the Kenyan market, but now we serve Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia. We also have now brands listing from South Africa, Nigeria, onto the platform. Even we have brands from Dubai. But 80% of our vendors are Kenya, and it's made in Kenya brands, and that's what we support. So it's not just a platform where you come and list your products, because we understood from early on that I could be a fashion designer. I'm passionate about fashion, but by the time you're coming to Shopzetu, you don't have a pin, government pin. So how do we navigate that? So we hold people's hands to the point where their business is scalable. So we have different types of vendors on our platform. We categorize them tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And tier 1 being the one that has gone through all the processes and they're scalable and the business is doing well or they're a manufacturer. And a majority of these vendors, our vendors are in tier 3, which are creatives, new people, people that are below the age of 35, they're 24, 21. But it starts with a PIN. They have the idea, how do I scale it? So we work with them to grow so that they're from tier 3 to tier 1. We give them financial literacy. How can they be successful on an e-commerce platform? What do they need to do? How do they keep the books? So it's not just listing and selling on the platform. Is we work with you to scale your business. So that's what Shopzit is all about.
And we're talking about aggregators and enablers in the ecosystem. June talked about the ecosystem because in the creative sector there are many facets to it, and there's a lot of collaboration that's involved to create this ecosystem. So in terms of this question, I want to ask, what is the role of the ecosystem enablers and policy support? Maybe Mike can answer this. How incubators and accelerators, and hubs bridge the gap between the creative talent and the business skills.
Yeah, thanks a lot, ma'am. I think the ecosystem is coming together and it has a bunch of players. But I think if I speak from the context of housing, we have a very wide spectrum. So from an aspiring creator, so this is someone who is in university and we actually did a survey to ask them what they want to do when they grow up. There are very few doctors, so a lot of them want to be influencers, which is quite interesting. So there's that guy who is just starting out. They don't have a phone, they don't have the tools, they don't have the knowledge, and they're on one extreme. So we have a pathway for them into growing as a content creator. In fact, we call them nano-influencers. So we have about 250 to 5,000 followers, which most people, actually most, there's a lot of big influencers here. But that's one extreme. Then when I go to the other extreme, in our platform, we find someone like Crazy Kenna, who has grown enough to take himself to a university in Joba School of Film, where he's paying school fees of about 3 million shillings a year. So you can see the wide extreme that you start from here, but if you do certain things right, you can actually be a Crazy Kenna who's filling stadiums and shooting his own movie, right? And I think everything in the middle, in terms of the intervention, is where we think the ecosystem can be a very big role. For example, when it comes to equipment, is there a possibility for zero rating of the equipment that they need so that they can be able to get them at matching the rate, the laptop you need, the camera you need, etc. So that's an example of an intervention that can really catapult the industry. A second example would be something that Nairobi has done, which is in the past, there was this huge, almost colonial policy that said if you go to the CBD, you have to pay a license to take photographs, whatever. Today, when you go to the middle of town, you find thousands of people with what we call Mabuli umbrella, right? All different corners. And they are doing that because of a policy intervention that says you can actually shoot content here. You don't need to ask anyone, you don't need to ask permission. So I feel like the ecosystem has a lot to play in terms of moving what I call the amateur creator, who's at university. Who's now established, running a business, and employing so many other people. Yeah.
That's awesome. So we are saying that there's still a lot of work to be done and a lot of discussions to be had to move policy, to move the dial, to the discussions, even in the formal institutions, commercial institutions like here. It's a discussion each of the panelists maybe to share with us, the creatives are here. What is it that you want to see from them? Creativity is not a side hustle. That's very important for us to do.